Welcome back to our channel. Please subscribe to hear chapter books read aloud. Officer Spence Makes No Sense. A My Weird School Days, number 5. By Dan Gutman. Chapter 4. True or false? Go first. Where? I didn't even know where I was going. But for sure, I want to go there first. Officer Spence took me to room 104. That's Dr. Brad's room. He's our school counselor. He helps kids with their problems, but I didn't have any problems, so I didn't have to see him. Dr. Brad doesn't come to school every day because he works at a bunch of different schools, so his room is empty. Sit down, ordered Officer Spence. I sat on the only chair in the room. There was wires sticking out and leading to scary-looking machines on the table. "Where's Mr. Klutz?" I asked. What did you do with him?" "He's probably in a slammer by now," Officer Spence replied. "Slammer? I've never heard of slammer. It sounded like some kind of torture machine." "What's a slammer?" I asked. "Oh, he's in a pen," said Officer Spence. How can Mr. Klutz fit inside a pen?" I asked. I didn't know what he was talking about. If Mr. Klutz was in a pen, it would have to be a really big pen. Where would the ink go? And how can anybody use a pen with a principal inside it? "Mr. Klutz is in a stir," said Officer Spence. "He's in a big house. The cooler, the joint, the clink, the pokey, the hoosgow, the calaboose." "Huh?" "He's in jail," Officer Spence shouted. "Oh," I said. "Why didn't you say so?" "Never mind about Mr. Klutz," Officer Spence told me. 10 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches have been stolen this month. There's a crime we have been sweeping at elementary school, and I'm going to put a stop to it once and for all." Mr. Klutz looked really mad. He turned on one of those desk lamps and pointed at my face. And then he took a bunch of those scary wires to my arms. In my head. "What are you doing?" I asked. "This machine is a lie detector," Officer Spence told me. "If you tell a lie, it will make a beeping sound. So you'd better tell the truth if you know what's good for you." "Okay, let's get started. What's your name?" "AJ. I looked at the lie detector to see if it would beep. It didn't. "Very good," said Officer Spence. "And what does AJ stand for?" "Arlo Jervis," I admitted. "That's right," said Officer Spence. The lie detector didn't beep, so you must be a good boy. Good boy. Do you like school, AJ?" "No," I said. "That's also true," he told me. "Tell me, Arlo Jervis, is there anything you like about school?" "Nope," I said. "Beep, that's a lie," Officer Spence said. You like something or somebody." "No, I do not," I said. "Beep, liar," shouted Officer Spence. "I bet you like Andrea, that little girl in your class with curly brown hair, right?" "I do not," I said. "Beep, you're lying." "I am not," I shouted. "I hate Andrea." "Beep, liar," shouted Officer Spence. "You're secretly in love with Andrea, aren't you?" "No." "Beep." "Hey," I said. "What does any of this have to do with the stolen peanut butter and jelly sandwich?" "Oh yeah, the sandwich," said Officer Spence. "Did you steal it?" "No," I said. "How can I steal it? It was my sandwich, and I didn't even get to eat it." Officer Spence was going to ask me another question, but you'd never believe who walked into the door that moment. Nobody. If you walked into the door, it would hurt. You'll never believe who opened the door and walked into the room. It was Andrea, and behind her were Emily and Ryan and Michael. "I'm on the principal's advisory committee," said Andrea. "It says here that in the elementary school handbook that you can't give lie detectors tests to students without their parents' permissions." "Let me see that," Officer Spence demanded. Andrea handed him the elementary school handbook and showed him a page in it. See, she said. Fine, Officer Spence replied. I'll find another way to nab the peanut butter and jelly sandwich bandit. I've seen these criminals in action. They'll take anything that's not nailed down. So we should nail down our sandwiches? Asked Michael. If you nail down a sandwich, it will be hard to eat, said Ryan. You could eat around the nail, I pointed out. Quiet, barked Officer Spence. You kids think you're pretty smart, don't you? Do you think the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches grow on trees? No, we all said. I tried to imagine the peanut butter and jelly sandwich growing on a tree. That would be cool. When you were hungry, you can just go outside and pick a sandwich. I hope they throw the book at you, Officer Spence muttered. Why would they throw a book at us? Asked Michael. Throwing books might ruin the binding, said Emily. Mrs. Rupee, the librarian, says you shouldn't throw books. You should treat them with the TLC. That stands for tender, loving care. Enough! Yelled Officer Spence. When I'm through with you kids, they might give you a chair. Why would they give us a chair? I asked. So if you steal a sandwich, they'll give you a chair? Asked Ryan. That's weird. What if you give all the chairs you need? Asked Michael. I said that's enough, yelled Officer Spence. Oh, by the way, Andrea, Arlo Jervis here is in love with you. Ooh, everybody said. Is that true, Arlo? Asked Andrea, all smiley. I always thought you secretly liked me. I don't, I shouted. Beep. It is true, said Andrea. It is not, I yelled. Beep. Ooh, Ryan said. Andrea and AJ and Andrea are in love. When are you going to get married? Asked Michael. Never, I yelled. Beep. If those guys were my friends, I would hit them. You kids are no help at all, Officer Spence shouted. Get out of here. Go back to class. I'll find a peanut butter and jelly sandwich myself. I'll tell you, Officer Spence makes no sense. Chapter 5, Na-na-na Boo-Boo. You know how your teacher says you have to read a chapter in a book before you can have fun, when you really don't have to? Well, read this chapter and go have fun and tell your teachers Na-na-na Boo-Boo. Chapter 6, Searching for Clues, the next time we read. Well, that's pretty much what happened, and thank you for watching Lights Down Learning, and we'll see you in the next chapter. And as always, peace.